Well, good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us here today. My name is Alexis Taylor. I'm director at the Oregon Department of Agriculture. First and foremost, I would like to thank Pearmine Farms for hosting us here today. It is an extremely busy time of year for farmers, particularly in this part of the state, and I think it just underscores how important of a topic this is. Also, I'd like to thank our partners at the Oregon Farm Bureau, Oregon Department of Transportation, and Marion County Sheriff's Department for joining us on this very important message that we have. Today, we're asking the public to please practice patience, caution, and courtesy when encountering moving farm equipment on the roads. Farming is a big part of our lives and economy here in Marion County and all across the state. Marion County is home to nearly 3,000 farms and the #1 agricultural producer by value in the state. Statewide, food and agriculture supports 686,000 jobs and nearly $30 billion in wages. And this is, as I mentioned, an extremely busy time of year for farmers as they're harvesting, moving product and equipment to fields and to their markets. They're working to meet deadlines and dealing with unpredictable weather and market conditions. Together, we can help make the roads safer by all of us taking just a couple minutes to share the road. We're so lucky in Oregon. We are so lucky in Oregon to be able to have access to a diversity of fresh, locally grown food and agricultural products. And it takes actually very little effort for all us Oregonians to access those, whether it's via community-supported agriculture or CSAs, you-pick farms, farm stands, or maybe your favorite winery. Statewide, Oregon has more than 300 farm stands, for example, and over 100 of those are in Marion County alone. And that's great. That's allowed farmers to really get connected to who their consumers are. But it also means more people are driving on rural roads to visit those farms, pick their own strawberries and cherries, or visit their favorite wineries. And while we want to support that and encourage that, Oregonians, encourage that connection to their local farmers, we also want to remind all Oregonians that as they encounter farm vehicles on rural roads, they're probably moving much slower and can make unpredictable turns into fields. Taking a minute to be patient and using caution can actually save lives. Farming is actually a very dangerous activity. It is one of the most dangerous professions per the U.S. Department of Labor. So I'm asking all Oregonians and visitors to our great state that as you're out and about visiting and connecting with our ag economy, to please take a minute and share that road with farm vehicles and farmers who are on them. Thank you, and with that I'll turn over to one of our farmers, Molly.
Good afternoon. Is it on? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Molly Makar. I'm fourth generation farmer here at Pearmine Farms, where I farm with my brother. This topic is become very important to us, especially over the last few years. It's become evident, but it really hit home 5 years ago when a neighbor of ours, Scott Miller, was killed after being rear-ended on his tractor about 2 miles from here, driving down French Prairie Road. And so with that awareness and sadness, we started really paying attention to how we transport our farm equipment up and down River Road and other areas. And at the end of the day, not only do I want to be able to return home to my family, I'd like our employees to be able to return home to their families, and also, generally commuters not have to deal with effects of potentially life-altering events by just not being aware of farm equipment on highways and how quickly you approach one. Sorry, I apologize. Not sure how to say this. In the last 12 months, we've had just over 12 fatalities in North Marion County, and that's 12 too many. with the use of technology, Google Maps, Waze, I think folks are finding alternative routes, and it's bringing them out into rural roads, and that's fantastic. I use those things as well to find the fastest routes, but also need to be aware of where you're headed and what you're going to encounter when you take those routes. And Oregon rural roads, McRiver Road and through Marion County, was designed to get agricultural commodities to market. They weren't designed to be freeways for heavy traffic. And so that has, as we encounter these new challenges with encroaching urban boundaries, increased populations, we've all got to learn to work together on these roads and be patient. All we're trying to do is make a living, and which also requires us to drive big pieces of equipment to and from fields. So I will actually go ahead and let Brenda read. She's up next, and she has a statement that I think will best describe why we're here and the importance of road safety.
Good afternoon. My name is Brenda Dufault, and I'm a third-generation farmer from St. Paul. My farm is located actually just a few miles north of where we're standing today. I want to thank you so much for coming out and taking an interest in what feels like a collision, figuratively and literally, on our rural roadways. I'm here to speak as a farmer, as a first responder, a mom, and as a community member. From all of the hats that I wear today, I can tell you firsthand that the lack of roadway safety is a very scary and often all too deadly scenario. My hope is that raising awareness around road safety in agriculture and on these county roads ultimately will lead to lives that are saved. I am so appreciative of all of you here today with the same goal surrounding road safety in our communities here in Oregon. One person who has also worked very hard on this issue was instrumental in getting legislation through this session, Representative Shelley Bosshart-Davis. She was unable to attend today, unfortunately, because she is still down in Salem fighting the good fight, but she asked me to please read a statement for her. Again, this is from Representative Shelley Bosshart-Davis, who represents House District 15, and this is regarding House Bill 3213. First, I would like to thank Representative Bill Post, Brenda Dufault, Molly Makar, Jenny Dressler, Oregon Farm Bureau, Roger Beyer with Oregon Seed Council, all for their assistance in crafting House Bill 3213. I was proud to introduce this bill, the Rural Oregon Achieving Driving Safety, also known as the Roads Act, this session. This bill is going to provide a tool for local law enforcement, counties, and communities to ensure that county roads and farm roads are safe for tractors and farm equipment, and also safe for our rural communities who want to get to and from their homes safely. Oregon back roads are some of the most beautiful drives in our state of Oregon, but they can also be some of the most dangerous. As our freeways and state highways become more and more congested with traffic, fast driving vehicles are choosing to take detours on these county roads. Unfortunately, they are often still driving like they are on a freeway. Many are familiar with safety corridors that are now on state highways. However, current Oregon law does not allow their establishment on county roads. House Bill 3213 creates a county road pilot program by which local governments can bring awareness to the dangers of driving on these county roads. Since 1989, the Oregon Department of Transportation has established 19 corridors on stretches of state highways where serious and fatal injury crashes are higher than the statewide average. To bring awareness to these dangers associated with these roadways, ODOT implements plans using 3 tools: education, engineering, and enforcement. Proof of this success lies in the fact that all but 3 have been decommissioned because they have been so successful in decreasing these types of accidents. My hope is that by giving county governments the power to bring awareness of the dangers of driving these back roads at freeway speeds, we give them another tool in their toolbox to save lives. House Bill 3213 passed the House unanimously on June 4th, and just last Monday passed the Senate floor also in a unanimous vote. It should be signed by the governor any day now into law. I am more than aware of the very specific and very real need currently in Marion County, and this law cannot come soon enough. Thank you again for the support from law enforcement, first responders, elected officials, and community support from Marion County. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ethan Griffith, Senior Deputy Sheriff with the Marion County Sheriff's Office. I would like to thank the Oregon Farm Bureau, the Oregon Department of Agriculture, the Oregon Department of Transportation for hosting this press conference about the importance of sharing the road safely with farm equipment. During my time at the Sheriff's Office, I've had the opportunity to be part of our traffic safety team. The traffic safety is something that is very personal to me, and I've seen the impact crashes have had on families and on our community. I've learned traffic crashes can be prevented by promoting good driving habits and driver awareness. I'd like to share a few safety tips with you as we enter the harvest season with farm equipment on the roadway. First of all, pass with extreme caution. I cannot say that enough. Be careful when overtaking these large tractors and equipment on the roadway. If you have to enter an oncoming lane, make sure you can clearly see ahead of both you and the piece of equipment you are passing. Only pass when it is legal to do so. Often people make passes when it's convenient for them, but we have to understand there's other people, including these large vehicles, on the roadway. Do not pass in no passing zones or within 100 feet of any intersection, railroad crossing, bridge, tunnel, or in a curve. Never assume that the driver of that tractor can see you behind them. The next thing is be patient. Be very patient. No one likes to sit in traffic any more than the next person. Tractors will usually pull off the roadway when it is safe to do so and let you by. However, do not assume that because that tractor pulled off, that it's letting you pass by. Tractors often will have to make extreme wide left turns to be able to get their tractor and the equipment through whatever driveway or gate they're turning into. If you're unsure what the tractor driver is going to do, it's best to just wait. Even if you have to slow down 20 miles per hour and follow a tractor for 2 miles, it only takes 6 minutes of your time, which is like waiting for 2 stoplights. Share the road. This is probably the most important message that we want to get out. These days, more and more people are traveling on these back roads, which is creating congestion for drivers and farmers alike. An encounter with farm equipment is very likely on these roadways at all hours of the day and night. An encounter with, it is important to take the extra time to slow down and share the roadway. Being aware of farm equipment during your travels in Marion County can help make a safe trip for both you and its farmers. Please drive safe this summer and slow down. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Lou with Oregon Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Ethan. Appreciate it. My name's Lou Torres. I'm a public information officer with ODOT. I'm pretty much cover Region 2, which includes this part of the state, and so I get a chance to deal with this issue, I think, quite a bit, unfortunately, over the years. I first want to thank the speakers today, and I also want to thank everybody for being here today to kind of highlight this important issue. I'll start out with a few numbers to kind of throw your way here, and I apologize if I'm repeating some of the, whoops, I knew that was going to happen. Come back here. And I apologize if I repeat some of the themes here, but I think they're so important, sometimes you have to do that. In the past 5 years in Oregon, where we actually have statistics, it's between 2013 and 2017, we've had a total of 186 crashes involving farm equipment. And this includes 3 fatalities, and 126 of those crashes have caused injuries, some of them very serious injuries. We've seen an increase each year from about 26 in 2013 to 42 in 2017. So seen a pretty steady increase over that 5-year period. And I don't have the 2018 numbers, but I wouldn't be shocked if they continue that trend. You know, the fatal crash that I remember, it was highlighted just a little while ago, was back in October of 2014. That's really, to be honest with you, when I really started to focus really heavily on this particular issue. And that's when Scott Miller lost his life here in Marion County. And you know, it was a motorist that was going too fast and unable to slow down, who quickly rear-ended Scott's tractor. And I remember that story because, unfortunately, with the news media, no offense, but it took a fatality like that for the news media to really focus in on the issue. But they did, and so there was at least something good that came out of that. But the sad fact is that a vast majority of crashes involving farm equipment and other slow-moving vehicles are avoidable. Most of the time, these kinds of crashes can be prevented if motorists were more attentive, if they slowed down, they passed with caution, and they were more courteous and patient. I live in Scotts Mills, just across the county, and I've lived in that rural area for a long time and traveled between Scotts Mills and Salem. So I live on one of those rural roads as well, and so we not only get a lot of farm equipment, but also logging trucks, logging equipment being transported to different logging sites and so forth. But it's been for almost 30 years, and so during the summer harvest season, I encounter slow-moving vehicles almost on a daily basis, either going to work or returning home. And while I've been fortunate enough not to see any really bad crashes, I've seen a number of close calls, and mainly because people weren't passing properly, they were impatient, and they weren't attentive and observing where the farm vehicle was ahead of them, and they approached them too quickly. So I know firsthand how important it is to be a responsible driver that keeps everyone on the road safe. You know, we share the road here in Oregon, and whether it be bicycles, pedestrians, buses, and many other vehicles. So we share the road's real important, and that was stressed here, and I want to stress that as well. You know, our farmers need to drive their tractors and other farm equipment on our rural roads. They don't have any choice. They must go from field to harvest the products that we enjoy and need so much. So I'd like to remind folks that we're in the heart. Also, I'd like to remind folks that we're in the heart of the construction season right now. And the reason why I mention that is, presently we're working on a major project on I-5, for instance, where we're paving a stretch of the road between Woodburn and Salem. And a number of motorists are trying to avoid the congestion during the paving, and they're using a lot of our back roads. ODOT, unless we really have to, we don't use these rural roads as alternative routes and detour routes, and we don't encourage people to use them, but we know people are going to do that though, and so they're going to be on these roads here this construction season, so we're going to have to be even more attentive and more careful when we're driving out there. So I'm just going to conclude that it's imperative that we drive cautiously, keep eyes on the roads and hands on the steering wheel. And we always look ahead for any slow-moving vehicles so we can slow down in plenty of time. And please be patient, and above all, practice being a courteous driver. Thank you.